I'm sharing it.
Yeah, all right, guys. Hi, everyone. So, welcome to this week's LDI session, and we have an interesting topic in hand today. And, and the topic is evolution of emotions. Now, I think the word evolution and emotion are not that strange. I think everyone has heard about them. But when we talk about them together, what do you think it's about? Like, what do you mean by evolution of emotion?
Like how emotions evolved.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else?
Hello.
Same thing.
Yeah, yes, Arish.
Hey. Yeah, no issues. So, evolution of emotions, as in, I thought through the evolution itself, from a very rudimentary organism to a complex sentient being. The evolution started when the first moment, the search for food, pain,
Yes,
the first
exactly.
things, right? That will start from rudimentary thing, then it's the pain or the hunger or the search for the food. These are the and reproduce. This will be the main
Ex-
emotions. Then it got evolved with the need for the organism. Currently, we are there, right?
Yeah,
And we have very
exactly.
complicated emotions. And I'm not that aware of the entire structure, but yeah, this is the overall brief I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I think you gave a pretty well explanation of what I was going to say. Yes, Gayatri.
Yeah, how emotions evolved alongside how human and human brain evolved, like from ape to human now.
Yeah. So, like for evolution, we talk about the survival and the reproduction, like how it was essential and it was the like the integral part of the survival during the evolution period. So, how emotions developed and how emotions adapted throughout this evolutionary process to help humans survive and reproduce. That's the main concept when we talk about the evolution of emotions. Now, let me ask another question. So, when we talk about emotions and behavior, who do you think
Pratibha, you were stuck.
Pratima, you are stuck.
You got stuck.
okay, just give me 1 second. Yes, okay, you can start the recording. Yeah, so I was asking, does emotion manages our behavior or is it the other way around? What's your thought on that?
I think it's other way around because our emotion is like reaction to certain situations and events. Like how those situations will take place, those events will take place. That's how our emotions will be. So yeah.
I think it
Yes, Bharati.
I think it's very contextual. So in some cases, like fight or flight situations, you can't really you react before you feel it. So in that case, I guess emotions and behavior both happen more or less at the same time. But then there are situations like Aritvi mentioned, situational factors affect how we feel, and then our emotions affect how we respond to those situational factors. But also, a lot of times we end up doing things, and then when we reflect on those actions, we feel certain emotions. So it can really vary from context to context depending on how much time and space we get to decide before reacting or to actively control what we're feeling.
Right. Gayatri, you were also saying something?
something similar that sometimes we just in the reaction of something we have certain emotions in us, and sometimes our thoughts lead to certain emotions. So uh, emotions are just like pre-post, like it's it works both ways.
Okay, so let me put the question in other way. When we talk about the ancestral point of view, in that context, what do you guys think? Was emotions the one that were managing the behavior, or again, was it the other way around? How did our ancestors survive then? Yes, guys. Yes, Dinesh and Gayatri.
I just want to ask, I'm not getting the thread builder link.
I hope it's shared in the
Yeah,
chat
it is.
box.
I'll share it again.
Reshare it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it's
just
there.
joined late. Sorry for disturbing.
No, it's all right. Yeah, Harish, you were saying something.
Hello,
Um,
am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Gayatri, if you want to go, you can. No issues.
yeah, I think emotions, in the evolution, initially emotions uh, were having lot of role, because when humans used to go for hunting and everything, they used to see someone some dangerous animal. It's the fear and those negative emotions made them concentrate on the action. So negative emotions make you take action and without thinking about many other things, but positive emotions make your brain think about a lot of other things. So in those situations, negative emotions were really helpful.
Yes. Yes, Harish.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. In this sense, I will give you a quick brief on this. For our ancestors, the only main thing that their behavior actually dependent on from nomadic lifestyle to a social lifestyle, we have to think in that aspect first, right? The emotions and behavior, the key change happened when they become nomadic to social animals, right? What is social animal without that emotions and behavior? It will be called a herd, not a society, right? It's just a swarm of bees. Even they have better structure, but still the emotions are the outcome from the rudimentary reactions at the base level. Those are hormones and chemical reactions, basically chemoreactions. These things trigger our emotions in the evolutionary standpoint. And
Yes.
this, in an overall picture, I can give you is it's actually to thrive out of fear. First, it's a flight response. The fear is basically a reactive sense. When this emotions got evolved, it is about anticipated things also. It's not instantaneous things, it's anticipated fear. So that is the evolution of fear in that aspect. If it is joy, then let's say we might have seen some cows in the end of winter and summer. During the spring season, they will just jump on the grass. But
Just one thing, Harish, as
yeah,
much
I'll
as
keep
I'm
it small.
enjoying the discussion, yes, please
Yeah,
keep it small. Yeah.
I think Omkar can continue. Omkar can continue. I'll stop it here. Yeah, bye.
Thank you, Harish. So, yeah, I think uh, the emotions, the basic emotions are same. The only way to respond that emotion has evolved throughout this process. Earlier also they used to feel jealous. Earlier also there were few emotions. There were basic emotions were there. But by the time the response to that emotions has evolved, and because of this evolution, some new emotions are being created.
That's correct. Thank you, Omkar. Yes, Vinay, you also want to say something?
I want to say about some process like our emotion depends on the particular situation, and our reaction also depend on our emotion. Like basically, if we see a lion, that was at that time our emotion is fearing, and after the fearing, our reaction also depend in our emotions. That at that time, if we are fearing, we will react. If maybe we ran away from there and any other reaction. So our reactions are also controlled from our emotions. And one thing we have one sessions one TED Talk session where we learn about the power of emotions, in which the author said that we can't control our emotions. Basically, if we are trying to control our emotions, we can do it one, two, three, four. Like many times we will do it, but one time our all emotions came out and it will a difficult situation for us. Like we can't control the emotions every time, and what I believe is that the emotions depend on the particular situations
Yeah, we
and
can't
our reaction. Hmm.
Sure. So we can't control the emotions, but of course we
Yeah.
can regulate our emotions and we can understand where the emotion
Hmm.
is coming from. That's what we can
Hmm.
do. Now, the whole
Yeah.
point of discussing this is that initially, like in when our ancestors were there, it was about fight or flight. They were always on standby. They just wanted to survive. But as we evolved, that's not the only thing. The context, like Paridi and Gayatri were telling us about, like the context matter as well. Like it depends whether it's a fight or flight situation or not. Now we can say, I think it's safe to say after this discussion that emotions were shaped by our ancient environment and also influence human behavior today, right? Okay. But can we also say that there's a mismatch between the past and the present? Like the way if we felt fear in the past, we would react in a survival manner. Is it the same today as well? Paridi is saying yes. Okay. Yes, Paridi.
I think it's not just that I think it's very true that even though our environment and everything has changed, our brain hasn't yet understood that. It's still sort of stuck in that primitive stage where anything that is, even slightly worrying or so think in the past, like seeing a lion or a predator would, make our ancestors feel anxious, like their heart rate would go up, their pupils would dilate, they would feel that sense of fight or flight. For us, we don't have to run from predators anymore. But smaller things like, let's say, an exam or a meeting, or, even something as simple as possibly getting scolded by someone, that brings up those same feelings of anxiety in us. So even though our environment has changed and we're no longer at risk of dying constantly, other much more subtle things tend to spike up the same response in us. Because for our brain, every
Exactly.
danger is just danger. It doesn't have a hierarchy of death level danger or just a mild discomfort.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
So
Harish.
only the stimulus has changed. The response is the same.
Yeah, the challenges have changed. Like earlier, it was like do or die kind of thing, whether you survive or not. But currently, it's not the same. It's like the issues are not that life-threatening, right? It's work stress or it's school work stress or homework stress, friend stress. It's different from what it was during the past. Yes, Harish.
It's okay. I'll give you the answer for this. And
Yeah,
this
let's
entire.
keep, and one last thing,
Yes.
guys.
Okay. Yeah.
After this, we'll
Fine.
move to the question for the pitches. So
Fine.
let's keep
Fine.
it short.
The
Yeah.
stimulus hasn't been changed, but why those subtle things are triggering those fear standpoint as we evolved the nomadic to social beings in a social herd. If you are getting left out, and if some attributes are the reason for you being left out of the clan, you will be triggered about death, because if you are out of your clan, you are going to die. So there is something called fear spider web. There's a fear web, social disentanglement, and then death. Most of our subtle things are connected to social disentanglement. Once we are out of the society, the validation point, that's basically that web. Secondary, the primary will be the death. So it's indirectly linked to the fear of death, isolation, the depression, all these things are all related to that. So that is my
Exactly.
answer to it. Still
Yeah,
it's related.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
But
basically,
currently, it's not.
social
Yeah,
rejection is as bad as almost dying.
but it's not like it leads to chronic stress or some other
Right.
sort of mental disorder now,
Yeah,
not
it will
you
lead to,
actually dying. Yeah.
even though
Yes,
we
That
know
Gayatri.
it's not, it will lead to.
yeah.
Yeah, even if we are not constantly in threatening situations, it's not completely, the negative emotions are not completely useless. Like we might be in certain situations where we need to respond in a flight or fight way. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end, I think based on the current challenges, it's more about how we understand our emotions and how we regulate them accordingly. We can't respond in the same manner like we used to do in the past. That's just not gonna help us with our modern challenges, right? Um, Artu or Amrita, somebody has a question. Yeah, Amrita.
Yeah, so I had a question. See, we discussed everything about emotions in context of a response. Like We are perceiving something, we are perceiving a stimuli, and we are responding to it. Do emotions always need a stimuli? That's my question.
I think, of course, the context and the situation matters when you talk about emotions. And when you say about stimulus, it means that any kind of situation, right? Currently, we are discussing something and you must be feeling something, right? It's a response to the current situation. So I would say yes. Yes, Harish.
Uh,
After this,
what?
guys, we'll move to the
Amrita,
questions.
Amrita, just do you mean by internal stimuli or external social stimuli?
No, I just mean stimulus of any form.
You require stimulus.
So, what about when we feel something
Feel,
without a reason? Like
feel.
whatever, feel.
Yeah, it's a stimulus.
I think that can be a question for the pitch. I'll just quickly tell you guys the question and then we can discuss this. So, the question for today's pitch is: how can understanding the evolution of human emotions help us design better systems, tools, or learning methods that align with both our ancestral instincts and modern needs? It's a big question, but I hope it's clear, everyone.
Can you repeat once?
Yeah, how can understanding the evolution of human emotions help us design better systems, tools, or learning methods that align with both our ancestral instincts and modern needs? Yeah, guys, you can raise your hands for the pitches. And of course, whatever questions are left after the discussion, we can also discuss that in our pitches. We can have more pitches, guys. Come on. Thank you, Farisa. Sapnik, Vinay, Gayatri. Who else would like to pitch? Thanks, Vinay, Dinesh. We can have 2 or 3 more. I'll also raise my hand. All right. Okay, let's start with the pitches, guys. Over to you, Harish.
So for today's topic of evolution on emotions, I would like to stress that the point on which it is highly exploited in the current system implementation would be social validation. That social validation aspect is the highly exploited thing in our emotion in current days systems, applications, social media, in most of the areas. So this is in a sense of exploiting it in the emotional aspect. There are other aspects also other than social validation, such as anger, social justice. These things are of not validation, but an evolution of anger. Here, the anger is not reactive, but it is anticipated issue in a society. So this can be exploited again for implementing a crude way of putting a platform where anonymous justice can be implemented, voting can be implemented. Yeah, that is my pitch for today's emotions evolution.
Thank you, Harish. Over to you, Paridhi.
Right, so I've been reading a lot of books by Simon Sinek lately. So I would be talking about a concept from his work, which is that of creating a safe space within your organization, and how that concept is related to the ancestral idea of community and tribe, and how emphasizing on that, on creating emotional safety for your team members, can actually boost an organization's performance.
Thank you, Paridhi. Over to you, Darshana.
I will mostly talk about negative emotions and how it has evolved and how there is a mismatch of emotions in the modern days, and because of which fear, anxiety evolve, and which leads to stress. And to overcome that, which can be matched to back at evolution and the present, we can use something called pre-mortem, which is like opposite of post-mortem. If you want to know more about it, please come to my room.
That sounds interesting. Thank you, Darshana. Yes, Janvi.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be talking about how to turn our emotional chaos into clarity. I want to mention that emotions are not our enemies, they are ancient tools evolved to help us adapt and survive.
All right, thank you, Janvi. Over to you, Sandeep.
Okay, so in my room, I would be talking about how evolution of emotion is possible. So, I mean, even now we can evolve or try to evolve our emotions. So, yeah, that is something I would be talking about.
Thank you, Sandeep. Over to you, Farisa.
Yeah, I would like to have a discussion around how studying history of evolution would impact our decision making. And besides this topic, one thing is triggering me means like, do animals also have emotions? If they do, are they better managers? Because emotions are the ones which would help us manage the things. Like if we consider a scenario like traffic management, we humans suffer a lot for that, but ants, do they have emotions? Why are they better managing at that than us? Yeah, I would like to discuss on that.
Okay, thank you, Farisa. Satnik, over to you.
Yeah, so in my room, I will be talking about how primitive emotions like fear and anger, which have been developed by due to our natural instincts and situational aspects, have given rise to much more complex emotions like nostalgia, like joy, like shame, and how when we study this interconnection, we can actually understand the importance and their development, and we can actually create an impact on our current organizational systems, which are not only tied to corporate organizations or startup organizations, but also in educational system, in schools, in colleges, understanding the mental well-being of everybody. So yeah, I'm talking about that.
All right. Thank you, Satnik. Over to you, Vinay.
Okay. So if you understand uh, the evolution of emotions, we can understand the human behavior. We can understand the user needs, how the natural behavior of humans. So by this, we can create systems and tools. If you want to know more about it, please join my room.
Thank you, Vinay. Over to you, Gayatri.
Yes, in my room, I would like to discuss about how understanding of emotions and how the vocabulary we use for emotions is very crucial if we want to build tools and systems which align with ancestral systems and modern systems. Yeah.
Sounds interesting. Thank you, Gayatri. Over to you, Vinay.
I want to discuss about how evolution of emotion in our mind control our work and how can we control our emotions at that time or not.
All right. Thank you, Vinay. Over to you, Dinesh.
Uh, Today's world is basically filled of evaluated emotions. So if you want to use emotional intelligence to survive in this present world, you can join my room. We can discuss a lot about that.
Yeah, good topic, emotional intelligence. Thank you, Dinesh, for bringing this topic. Over to you, Jairaj.
Emotions are not just reactions, they are the tools for the growth. So, in my room, I want to talk about the importance of emotion and how we can better evolve to the better emotions so that we can have better decision making and we get the self awareness. So, this is what I want to discuss in my room.
Thank you, Jairaj. Over to you, Rakesh.
Yeah, so as technology developed over time, so did emotions helping humans survive and adapting their environment. Also, animals have emotions. It developed over time, and how it developed, I talked to in my room.
Thank you, Rakesh. And for my pitch, I'll be talking about the mismatch that we discussed earlier, like how we used to react through our emotions and how we should manage our emotions and regulate our emotions based on the modern challenges. Like we discussed about the ancient use of fear is like it helps us avoid predators, but currently it's not the same. It can lead to chronic stress. So we'll talk about the mismatch of the ancestral use and the modern challenges. You can open the rooms, Paridi.